Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today to bring you, for me, the long-awaited flip-through of this book, Bleak House. I've been working on it. I've done a lot of videos on it for quite some time. It's been in the making for quite a while. But this book was inspired by the Charles Dickens book, Bleak House. I love this 1800s copy of this book. It was a really beautiful cover, and I just, the title just really made me want to make like a Bleak House kind of book. So it's got sort of this underlying story, of like maybe something that could happen in like an industry town, that became abandoned and a little spooky and creepy, and but it was once prosperous, and like it's kind of got some abandonment vibes, like a little bit of a home design, kind of before and after things changed, and like a bit of a spooky town kind of feel. So let's talk about it. Okay, so I used this 1800s book, obviously. I took the spine off, rebuilt a larger spine, but then attached the spine on top of this iridescent green silk fabric. This book is all like stitched together as well. I used embossing powder over this to give it like the grunginess. It's the embossing glaze. I used these are Tim Holtz pieces. I wanted to have this upside down kind of man. And this house here, to kind of pay a little homage to like things have kind of gone upside down in this town, and these houses are so perfect. So I've got the cover here, a closure with an eyelet with these lovely green tattered seam binding. This book is 7 signatures, and you open it on up, and I've left the covers just plain. I've put this black fabric inside. It's all stitch on. It's a little scrappy, and then I've gilded kind of roughly over it. It's got a very kind of, special, like grungy, special book cover feel to it. It almost feels like it could be another book cover that you would see on like maybe a wealthy person's shelf in their abandoned home. So the book begins here with this trapped, it's a trapped like shaker card of things kind of collapsing and going awry. So you can actually, shake this down, and things will move, and you'll see there's little ghosts in there, and there's some gold sequins, but behind that there's a couple in a shattered wooden window, and they're just trapped inside of there. So it's a little bit symbolic, and it's on an index folder from a forensics lab report that I got in an estate auction from a movie set. There's writing space on back with this packaging paper. This is boiled book page. All of the beautiful boiled book pages in here are actually from my friend Mary Ellen of Red Parrot that she gifted me, and some of them you can see actually what she used. And so here it was maple keys, and I've added a contents label there. I was sort of playing with the idea of the contents of a home instead of like the contents of a book. There is some cedar printed here. This is a fun flap with a little button there, and this guy, writing space on back. This is my once famous grunge box that I ended up taking apart. So this is like probably months of like inks and paints and stains and such that made this really cool texture on this cardboard. This is one of the labels the tabs that I made from the Junk Journal Studio labels and the design team project that I recently did. And I did lots of fun stuff with them. So this is the first of those. And then we have this grungy label here, some boiled book text on this brownish purple construction paper. Another boiled book page pocket on this green kind of gardeny page, because I felt like this house would have had a garden and it would have had plants in it. It's all sort of tying into the green color of the book. And then we have this journal tag of these folks on some hand-painted bubble wrap and some fabric with buttons back here, some, tattered and worn and reused kind of things, right? All a part of the story of this town. some spattering and black lined paper. This is the original first page of this book. So I left the tissue there. It's a little bit like stained, but you'll see Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I added these kind of spooky gals here to kind of bring you into the book. London, Chapman and Hall, Piccadilly, 1875. So that's when this book was published. We have a tattered playing card here, and this is one of many pages from a ghost town book that I use that are black and white, and they tell the stories of different ghost towns. And then this tag here that says The World's End and has like all sorts of collaging going on, different bits and bobs, lace and fabric up top. Another ghost town, and this is one of my Boyle book pages. This spider tuck spot on another ghost town page, and this actually has an invoice from a doctor to someone who was deceased, so to their estate, I suppose. Another of the ghost town pages. This is the list of illustrations from the book. This says try prickly ash bitters, and it's from the ghost town book. Then some more of the black lined paper and spattering. This pocket here is collaged, and it says projected its rays through the tinted glass and so glaringly, and has these kind of spooky folks here that are kind of glaring. And then the eyes here on this metallic black paper. Another construction paper and the cardboard that I stripped down from my grunge box with lots of gilding and fun stuff. This is from one of my Journal Together kits. This is clear as day, and it's a little label, and it's a tip out. So this is from one of my Journal Together kits. It's like a large ledger that's been date stamped and has dollar amounts. Another Boyle book page, and the other side of that initial first page flap with a grungy pocket here on painty paper, and some grungy botanical tags that I made as well. For my journal, my Patreon freebie Friday, I made these fun tags, but this is one of the originals. Then we have this guy who says, "May I present?" And he flips down for his extra writing paper space. And then you have a painty page back here so you could write or put a photo or something. This was from an 1800s scrapbook, and it's honestly so spooky and creepy. I mean, truly, it's quite innocent. It's just a girl washing a monument of this man. But like, there's just something like he's come to life. He's looking at her intently. It's creepy. And then this is a woman standing on a chair avoiding a mouse. Something that could be going on for sure in a bleak house. That's a journal card. Some cabbage dyed paper with another one of those fun tabs that I made with Junk Journal Studio labels. And I did punch some eyelet holes in these with metal eyelets. And I added these fun little pieces. I've had these for years. I bought a whole bunch of these little metal findings. I think they're jewelry setting findings, and I got them out of the treasure box in this wonderful store called Courage My Love in Toronto's Kensington Market. It's like basically, I don't know, it's like an old kind of holler of Toronto. Like, you have to go there if you're in Toronto. It's an amazing shop. This is another page of the contents of Bleak House, the book. And then we have another of those tabs that I made. That one goes up top, and this is another page of the ghost town. And then over here, we've got another page of the ghost town, and I've put a cedar printed pocket there. And this journal card inside with some eco-printed fabric. It says Earth and Sky, and it has these guys, and they can rotate. They're on a brad, and that's a journal card that just pops up into this pocket. So kind of lots of fun elements going on this page. This is an old deed from the early 1900s. More of the black lined paper. This pocket, this is on a gravestone rubbing. that I did with crayon. And this says illuminated the room, producing fantastic and gaudy effects. And we have this couple here, and then this is actually petrified wood, this pattern behind. And I just thought like it was kind of cool because it's like it brings in the elements of design of a house with that statement and like things kind of going off, right? This is a piece of real copper that has been patinaed, and I ran it through with an embossing folder, stitched around it onto some paper that's been grunged up for a journaling card. Then we have the rest of another gravestone rubbing, and you can see the, you know, the numbers and the letters here. Another grungy pocket, gravestone rubbing, and then this is another mixed media tag. I'm not alone, you see, it says. And, you know, we have this bride and these eyes and this illustration here. It's a fun stuff going on. Another black lined page and more of that beautiful old deed. This is so nice. So this is the front page of it, this indentor. The 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 1909 to purchase this property, right? The Stort House of Governances between, and then it has the names Alison Thurn and Charles Wallenyang. I don't know, it's very hard to read. Their writing's beautiful, but it's kind of that writing you got to look at for a while to kind of decipher the letters. And then we have like a skeleton riverboat here from the ghost towns, and then this ghost town house, and that's also a tip out there. Another page from the Bleak House original book and some cabbage dyed paper. This has this creepy floral here on a dyed inked folder that's been painty paged. Then over here we have this pocket made from that ledger again, and it kind of tips out. I thought I would just include that little flip out, and it's painty paper, and we have two tags in here, and these stories kind of, they go together. Maybe there are a couple of like the children of the corn of this town. So Margaret waited for no more. What she was scared of, she could not exactly tell, but all the circumstances surrounding this affair were odd. Thetis was keeping them both cheerful by a perpetual stream of conversation, of a silence only broken by rather crushing short remarks. So I did a little bit of like, you know, blackout poetry style word snipping and put those stories together. Then here we have this pocket. It says, "This soon-to-be late sir is feeling a tad poorly, having ingested a plate of kippers marinated in lime." So this is from a poisoner's manual, like an old poisoner's like book, history book, and then this is some painty paper back here, and then we have here, this is like an old French laundry receipt. Actually, this doesn't look French. I don't know what language this is. I'm not exactly sure, but it's an old laundry receipt. I know that much. Pop that in here. Then we have some stained papers, hand-dyed papers, like coffee dyed with fractals, and some more black-lined paper. Another original page from the Bleak House book. There were several illustrations in here that were really cool. This one says "The Appointed Time." Then kind of another leafy plant page, again, playing on that home design, you know, theme. And then another tab that I made from the Junk Journal Studio labels. Then more of those little findings, and this fun little wood bead has been added to a metal eyelet on that tab for these charms. Another ghost town page, and then we have this belly band that's been, you know, kind of grungily put together. It says "A decorative point of view, untrue." And then in here, we have this large tag. It says, "On the third day, the bird flew away, once more the only phoenix in the world." And we have this black bird here, and this lady, you know, there's like blouse pins and a mirror, like sort of a mirror frame behind her. It's very mixed media, lots of metallic paint and grunginess. And this says, "He claimed to have seen the phoenix, a lonely bird. There was only one in the world, and it lived for 500 years. Towards the end of its life, the phoenix flew back to its birthplace in the city of Heliopolis in Egypt." As it circled the great temple, its bell-like cries sent the priests scurrying to collect wood, sulfur, and aromatic spices. So I thought that could be kind of like a town legend or something about this bird, this phoenix, who was a black bird. And then this is more gravestone rubbing. Another of the eco-printed pockets, and another of my grungy botanical tags. More of that deed, that house deed. This is a fun paper that has bones on it that I think Mary Ellen sent me this. It's got these bone illustrations. And then another house deed. This is the front with the date of 1909, the deed of land. More of this 1853 gravestone rubbing, 1905. This is a nice big tea-dyed page, and over here some of the ghost towns, little label down there, more plants. Then Bleak House Volume 2, also from the Bleak House book, more black lined paper and dyed paper. This is a tip up, and there's lots to read here. So this is Florence Bravo. In April 1876, Charles Bravo died a painful death at his London home. With him was Florence, his bride of 5 months, and her companion, Mrs. Jane Cox. Florence Bravo was the mistress of a doctor. He was free with the prescription blanks. How convenient for her proclivities. And underneath, there's a little more about this situation. Mr. Bravo was Florence's second husband. The first, Captain Ricardo of the Grenadier Guards, had died 5 years earlier, having willed her the sum of £40,000. Between marriages, Florence had been the mistress of a Dr. James Gully, who was more than 30 years her senior, and who still kept in touch on a friendly basis with his former paramour. After dinner on April 18th, Charles Bravo became quite sick, suffering severe stomach pains and vomiting. Despite careful nursing and doctor visits, his condition showed no improvement through the following night. Both Florence and Mrs. Cox attended the invalid until his death on April 21st. An autopsy was ordered and a fatal amount of antimony was discovered. The jury were unable to agree whether the poison had been self-administered or introduced by other hands. And then over here in these two paper clips is this fun piece. So these are two rusted paper clips, and this is on painty paper. This is a journal card. Has this fun, triangular kind of hang tab up top. So this is her head, and inside there is a spider. And then this just slips right back inside of her head. And then you just, bring her hair right back down, and you don't know anything is awry. And then this little journal card goes in there. There's some pencil written numbers there. And this is the bookshelf. And this is a list of books by female murder mystery authors. The Devil Loves Me, The Weak-Eyed Bat, The Invisible Worm, Wall of Eyes, Fire Will Freeze, etc. So it's kind of a cool piece. I think it's maybe one of my favorite pieces in this whole journal. I just was, sitting one night by myself, just kind of making things, and I came up with that and had a lot of fun just playing with it. It's a little interactive piece. And then another of those tabs on the Ghost Town page, and this is a belly band here that has this kind of Ghost Town image and a payment received label from the Junk Journal Studio. It's made from my grunge box, so it's got that fun color to it. And then here's a little bit of blue for this book. I just wanted to include this. So this is backed in this fun fabric from a vintage shirt, and this is Edgar Allan Poe, and then a little fractal dyed label at the bottom that I made. We've got some, threads and iridescent silk up top, or organza rather, not silk. And this is some coffee dyed paper. Whoa, hold on. I don't know what's going on. And then this is some eco-printed paper that Mary Ellen did. And this is an envelope that flips open there so you can see. I've cut this end open though, so it's easy to take this out, this booklet, and we've got a label there. So this booklet, it has some lace dyed paper, this little girl here, and then it's kind of the elements of different things about the home. So plants, this is a little bit of a textile. These pages have been inked, and it's just a fun kind of booklet for inside this envelope. And you can put it in either way, because I did cut this open. I just kind of like to have these open. They're easy to sort of pull things in and out. And then this is just some, I can actually probably leave that open. That's a tip, but you don't even have to tip it. It's actually fine. We have a label there and painty paper. This is another page from the original book. It says The Ghost's Walk. So it might be a little hard to see because it's an old and quite dark image, but it's like a gargoyle here, and there's a woman walking downstairs, and there's, you know, a wild wind and an ocean and what looks almost like a dragon or a very large bat kind of flying over the water, and then some really ornate like architecture there. More gravestone rubbing. This is from that deed and has these two lovely little red wax seals. And then more of the gravestone rubbing. And this is a collage tag. It says, for some strange reason, talking in whispers, anything uncommon about me? So just a little bit of fun, you know, wordplay. And then back here, this has some fun paper on the back to write on, with little boxes and stuff. So some stitching and another one of those tabs that I made with the labels from Junk Journal Studio, and some fun little kind of cogs and clock faces. More of the black lined paper, stitching on parchment paper, a label, more grave rubbing, another original page from the book. This says The Old Man of the Name of Tulkinghorn. Another flip that doesn't need to flip anymore. These weren't as wide as I thought, but it has this label, and this is an old book spine here. And then painty paper, more label. This is the flap from that envelope that I turned into a tuck spot. For this journal card, which is another original illustration from Bleak House, it says Sir Lester Dedlock, and all of these lovely illustrated folks. This is a tuck spot made from an old cabinet card that I tore in half. The front cover, it was one of those ornate ones that has like a front cover. And then this is a page from the Ghost Town book, but we have this journal card inside. It says Disappeared, Forgotten All About Her Name, and has this creepy Tim Holtz. And it's also been coffee stained and inked, and there's mixed media and stitching. Lots going on here. On this side, more of the Ghost Town book. And then this is a belly band that I made with some painted bubble wrap. It says Wouldn't Have Believed It. And that's a label that I made, one of the originals for a page of these kind of labels I did for my Journal Together kit on Patreon. And then this is a boiled book page from like a Hollywood cinema kind of book. And I just made these people look like they're in a total calamity. And we have a label down here from Junk Journal Studio and a nice fabric tab back there. And it's on some garden-y kind of plant paper. Other side of the tab here, we see this guy. There's lots of strings and things. I left them there on purpose. And this has a charm of a little bird cage and a freshwater pearl. And then a little label there on the parchment. And then here, this is a pocket made. You can see like these, you know, almost barn looking structures. And it's a pocket. And this says, do you want a piano? The opera piano. It's an authentic old ad from a very old, sort of newspaper type thing that I had. And this is also from it. This is the Free Beethoven Organ Co. little mini journal card in that just kind of pops in here. And then inside the pocket, we have this journal tag that says Nobody Sees. And there's vintage, you know, old cello tape and labels and a window frame, book spine. It's on painty paper, like lots of mixed media. I was taking some quiet time as I made this book and did a lot of fun mixed media. This is a flip out here, another label, and more tea stained and black lined paper. Original page from the book of Lady Dedlock in the Wood. This is a big book, guys. Sorry, I know this is a big flip through. Another Ghost Town page. Another boiled book page. This little December ledger tab kind of file folder. And then this is an authentic invoice from the Andrew Malcolm Furniture Company. I forget when it's from. Does it have a date on there? It does not, but it's early 1900s. And then another of the file folder sides there, and more boiled book page with botanicals. This is just a fun background from the Ghost Town book. Original book page again with an illustration. It says Tom all alone. And more of the black lined paper and tea stain paper. Another coffee dyed folder page that flips with a specimen label there painted on the other side. And then this fun ad for Ypsilanti underwear is a tuck spot for this fun. This is a painty paper and has this owl on it that says angry people are not always wise, and has this snowy owl. And it's just a fun tag. I liked the bit of pink that kind of pulls some of the pink from those painty pages. This is parchment. This is our townsman here, our grumpy townsman. So this is a folding journal card, and we have these four Marshall's companions: Henry Wrigler, William Johnston, Azariah Smith, and I don't know, some Isaac Brown, I guess. And they're all there with their ribbons on from 1898, and it's on a green leafy plant page. So that's our townsman. And then we have this pocket here that's made from acetate, and it has this journal card inside, and then the boiled book page is right behind it, so you get that fun paper. And then this is a really fun journal card. This is from the Ghost Towns book, and basically it's got some kind of ominous women, fun women, like they're all cutting up logs with these various, you know, hand saws. And so I thought that itself was a little ominous, because like some of them have got a real like look on their faces. So they were kind of appropriately concerning. The townswomen. And then we have this guy here, another one of those labels I made, or sorry, tabs I made with the labels from Junk Journal Studio. Another ghost town with some premonition kind of images page. This is cedar, eco-printed paper, watercolor paper pocket from Mary Ellen. And then this is another of those mixed media tags that I made, and this one says Tempting Fate. Another original page from the book. It says a new meaning in the Roman, and we have sort of a dark house. And then this is a fun tabbed kind of this is like watercolor paper, I think. And then this marbled vintage paper, and we have another of those tabs that I made from Junk Journal Studio, labels and things, and some of those findings from Courage My Love. And here's the original sort of front page of the Ghost Towns book. I just made it a flip up, and you can write on the back because it just has like clouds on it, and then there's obviously writing space underneath. Another black lined paper. Another tea-dyed paper, more of that marbled paper. And then this is a journal card held on with a rusty paper clip of these kids and these botanicals. Some strange little, you know, kids from the town, I guess. And then another specimen label on an original book page that says Shadow, and we have the shadow of this woman in this parlor. And this is just a fun little tuck spot I made from some folder that I black inked and stamped numbers on. Label here and Ghost Town page there. This is just some fun papers that I put together that kind of had like a, you know, kind of almost like the wallpaper you would see in a funeral home or something, just darker looking kind of wallpaper type paper. More Ghost Town and tea-dyed paper, some boiled book page with lovely florals, a little pocket here with this little girl, some of the bone paper, creepy kind of florals, and this hyena who's maybe her pet in this weird ghost town. And then this is a Tim Holtz journal card of this sort of dark cathedral. I felt like that was a nice fitting piece. And then I collaged this backside here with leftovers from boiled book and some fun like gluey kind of brown paper with text in it. And then I have a distressed playing card and a coffee stained index card. Tea-dyed paper, painty folder paper that flips in. Another original book page that says the morning, and it's kind of a play on words because it's spelled as like morning, noon, and night morning, but she's like thrown herself on kind of these stairs and looks very much like she's mourning in this dark house. It's so hard to see because like these are very dark ink illustrations. Another tab here that I did as part of the Junk Journal Studio project. This is like some of the town eccentrics maybe. So these folks are here, and this woman looks like another artist that I follow that I really like. I'm not going to say her name here, but it just cracks me up every time I see her because she reminds me of someone. And this says, believes rocket can reach moon. So these are like your conspiracy theorists in your town, I guess. And then there's this fun journal card that I collaged with these blackbirds and this church from an old book. And it's on that fun, like vintagey marble paper. And then I just tucked a couple more fun pieces of that ledger in here, thinking that could be fun to like glue some photos to just enjoy those papers because all that text is gorgeous. Another tea-dyed page, original page that says the mausoleum at Chesney World. So it's literally a mausoleum. There's trees around it. This is another folder that folds out, and this is stapled on. It says pretending, and it's just another little like decorative kind of collage. Some fun painty paper. This is all in like metallic paint. It looks much cooler in person probably than it's picking up here. And then we have this pocket that was made from like cellophane, and it's got two things inside of it. So one of the grungy botanical cards, and then this little journal card of this guy, and we've got this house roof on the back. So they just kind of hang out inside of there together. And that is stitched onto a tea-dyed page. It's got this fun gray text border. So let's just pop in there. Tea-dyed page with a label. And then this page was from a boiled book that I did of opera divas, and I've stitched all around here. And then we have this final pocket that has the bone paper. These Tim Holtz folks here, they're sort of saying goodbye from the town. And then it's got lace and some gothic florals. Ghost town paper back there, and then this says light, and so she's kind of nursing, you know, this guy, and there's, you know, someone else there, and there's a little story, you know, that maybe is in there about a poisoner too. So it's like, it's just kind of like you can treat this book like a little bit of like a soap opera and make up your own thoughts on this town. Then I've added a couple labels back here. It's my signature and the date, and my seal there that says Studioloo. So the back is the same, and that is the Bleak House. So thank you so much for joining me for this flip through. I had so much fun. This book was like therapy, honestly, because I really just played with a lot of mixed media and really spent some time making it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It feels kind of like I'm getting a little back to my roots, both in making the kind of videos that I used to make a lot about, like what I was actually working on, and then making bigger kind of storytelling sort of books. So all right, that's it. Thank you so much. If you're seeing this video, that means that this journal has been posted in my Etsy shop. And if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me either in a comment here or, on Etsy through my shop messages. Everything is linked down below in the description box, my Patreon, my Etsy, all my socials, all that kind of thing. So you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.